Hey everybody, I'm John and this is Blind Whiskey Reviews. Hey everybody, and thank you so much for joining me here on Blind Whiskey Reviews, the most honest reviews on YouTube. If you haven't already, please don't forget to subscribe so you can see every review I'm putting out. Today we're reviewing the Jameson Irish Whiskey IPA edition, and this is my very first non-American whiskey review, so I'm really excited to show you guys this one. As I've told you guys in the past and leading up to this, I didn't know this was coming today, but I am not a big drinker of whiskeys that are not made in America. So Irish whiskey, Scotch, that's not a whiskey, but rum. These are all things I've gotten bottles of to do reviews for you guys, and I have not done a ton of them. So take it with a grain of salt. I am not used to drinking stuff like this, and I just want to kind of go on the journey with you guys and tell you what it's like for me to experience this thing for the first time. Other than the regular Jameson or Bushmills, I've really not drank very much Irish whiskey, so I'm really excited to bring you guys my very first review of a non-American whiskey in this Irish whiskey of Jameson's, so let's get to it. All right, everybody, let's get into the whiskey. First, as always, we will start with the color. This one's lighter. It's like a light golden color, straw color maybe. On the nose, well, this is a very different nose. It's different than what we've been doing. This does not smell like a bourbon. It's got lighter fruit notes. It's almost like a berry character in there, a berry note. Couldn't tell you what kind of berry though. There's something else there on the tail end of the nose. I can't put my finger on it. There's sweet notes on here. I'm getting like a touch of, and there's big fruit, that berry character, almost maybe like a touch of that brown sugar character. Very faint. And there's something on the back. I can't put my finger on what it is. Anyways, I'm curious to figure out what this tastes like, so let's see. Cheers. Buttery. Mama, we're not in Kentucky anymore. Alright, so this tastes like no bourbon I've ever tasted, so I'm going to have to guess we've ventured outside the U.S. borders and we're in something from another country here. If I have to guess, and I am no expert on other whiskeys other than, I'm not an expert on bourbon or rye, but I've drank a lot of that. I am no expert on Irish or Scotch or anything else. I've heard described, a lot of people say that Irish whiskey has a buttery character, and I get a big buttery punch on this whiskey. In terms of everything else, it's a light end of medium mouthfeel, kind of thin, not very coating. Flavor doesn't hang around too long. Some of that buttery character hangs around. Let's get another taste so I can give you a couple other notes here. Yeah, like a berry character, apple, that butter note is kind of over the middle of the palate. Finish, the whiskey dies down pretty quickly. Doesn't give you a big punch of flavor. It doesn't hang around too long. There's still some flavor lingering, but it's very mild. And it's kind of along the lines of that buttery character. I've always heard people describe Irish whiskeys or certain Irish whiskeys as being buttery, and I always thought that was a strange note, like how are you going to get butter on a whiskey, and now I know. So I'm not saying this is an Irish whiskey, again, I'm no expert, but That's what I'm tasting. That's what I've heard described. So we'll go with that for the moment. I wish I could tell you what that note on the nose is. You don't get it so much on the palate, but there's a note. It's a note like you know. It's almost like an herbal spice character that I know. I just can't put my finger on what it is. Let's give it one more taste here. Yeah, it's so strange, the combination of these flavors, and it's not bad by in any sense, but it's just a weird combination. This like berry character with butter, almost kind of turns into a little bit of like a butterscotch. It's good. It's just unique and different. I wanted to take you guys on the journey with me to other whiskeys that are not made in America, because I don't drink them, and I really wanted to start trying them with you guys. So I think we're there. I think we found it. So I don't quite know what I'm tasting. I don't hate it. It's interesting. It's definitely different than what I'm used to, and that's kind of cool. So let's add some water and see if we get some other characters coming out of this. To note, it's not a very high proof whiskey, it wouldn't seem. I think we're in that sub 90 or 90-ish range, maybe a little less. Doesn't give you a whole bunch of burn. You get a little bit of burn on the tongue, not much in the chest. And again, it disappears pretty quickly on the palate. Water doesn't really change this nose at all. About the same as we described before. Palate is very similar. Let's add a little bit more water. Let's see if we can get something to change here. I mean, maybe if anything, that buttery character died down a touch, but not very much. All right. And as I mentioned recently in another review, normally I would let this water sit in the whiskey, let the two kind of meld together and do their thing. But for the purposes of this review, and if you haven't noticed, I never cut in the review portion of the review, so I just can't do it. Maybe that brought forward a little bit more of the berry character, more of the fruity notes. Definitely killed a lot of the butter when I added the more water now, especially. The fruity notes are still there, the berry, the apple. It's quite good. I mean, adding water definitely didn't hurt it. If you like that butter character, it kind of takes that away from you a bit, but still tastes pretty good. Rating's a tough one with this. Again, I'm not real experienced with these other whiskeys outside the U.S., and I'm going to be really embarrassed if this is a bourbon or something, but I can't imagine that it is. But it's tough for me to give you a rating. I'm just going to tell you how I feel about it personally, and take that with a grain of salt. I have not a lot of experience with Irish whiskey or Scotch or whatever this might be, so I'm going to give it, I think it's good. I like the flavors. I'm just not used to them. I really don't want to knock it for that, but I'm going to say it's an 86. I think it's pretty good. So let's see what this is. I'm super curious. It doesn't want to come out. All right, what do we got? We have, hey, it's the Jameson Triple Distilled Irish Whiskey Caskmates, the IPA edition. That's pretty cool. Again, that buttery note kind of made me think it was Irish, and that's only because I've heard other people describe that buttery note in Irish whiskey. So it's the only reason I was able to guess that. But let me go grab that bottle, and we can talk about it a little bit more. All right, everybody, we just finished our review of Jameson's Caskmates IPA edition Irish whiskey. This is 40% alcohol by volume, 80 proof. It is seasoned oak, or IPA seasoned oak, hop, citrus notes, smooth finish, yada, 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 yada. There's not much about it on the bottle. Really what they say is they let a brewery, I don't know if it's a brewery over in Ireland or where, but a brewery took their barrels and aged their IPA in them. And when they returned the barrels, they decided to throw their whiskey in them and let the whiskey age in these IPA barrels that have been soaked in the beer for however long. And that's where they came up with this Caskmates stuff. And there's obviously, if you don't know much, there's the IPA edition, there's a stout edition as well, which I do have. I just haven't gotten to review it yet. So, as you saw, I thought it was pretty good. And after I found out what it was, I realized that note that I was telling you guys about, there's that character I couldn't quite put my finger on. It was hops. There is a big punch of hops at the very end of this, and it's kind of like a floral hoppy note. And it's not something you would normally taste. I've homebrewed for quite a while, and I don't know why I couldn't have put my finger on it before, because I've tasted that before. I've tasted hops, and I've definitely had my fair share of hop experience. So I'm surprised I couldn't put my finger on it, but that's definitely what it was. After I found out what this whiskey was, I knew it right away. That's what that character was. So in terms of value, this bottle I believe was $30 for a 750. I think it's a decent value. I would definitely buy it again if I was interested in getting another Irish whiskey. I thought it was pretty good. I don't have a ton, again, and I've said this in the review and the lead up, I don't have a ton of experience with this stuff, so I don't really know what to expect when it comes to Irish whiskey, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was tasty. I do enjoy that addition of the hoppy character. I thought it gave it a lot of complexity that maybe it wouldn't have had. So I thought that was really good. I really wish they would stop bottling whiskeys at 80 proof, at 40%. I think like the bare minimum we should be doing is like 40. I like 90 proof as the lowest level we get into. I think this could have used a little bit extra flavor punch, a little bit extra, just a step up in that flavor level. But I mean, I still think it's good. And $30, it's hard to say no to anything in that price range. I thought it was good. I thought it had some good complexity because of those IPA barrels it was aged in. So I enjoyed it. And I'm real excited to have done my first non-American whiskey review. So if you guys have had either of the Caskmates editions, I'd love to hear what you think about them. Leave a comment down below. Other than that, you can follow me on @blind_reviews on Instagram and Twitter. You can email me at blindwhiskeyreviews@gmail.com. And until next time, cheers.